Hey, 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 hey. How's it going? Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you're all having a good start to the year. And we're jumping straight back into it this Wednesday for the continuation of our Wednesday Hangouts, where we discover and refine render settings, render techniques for mainly immersive cinematic VR renders out of Unreal and also other immersive formats such as Dome Master and other sort of dome and immersive formats. Cool. What I'm going to look at this time, well, to recap, if you watched last week's stream, or just see the title of last week's stream, you'll see if you watched last week that we made some really good progress finding some motion settings that work really well for forward motion. We did this test where the camera was moving just on this one axis. We found a few settings that, such as this kind of culling, which you can see around here as objects kind of flash into view. This becomes a lot more obvious in 360 renders. So we found the console command for that. That was the allow occlusion queries console command. There it is. Let's set that to 0 for false. You don't get that culling anymore. Obviously with a slight performance impact, but doesn't matter for renders. Really doesn't seem to save much in real time either, which is kind of funny. Maybe it's really effective for some levels, but not this one. This is a pretty small level anyway, I guess. So next, also anti-aliasing. We found the kind of best anti-aliasing settings was actually DLSS or DL, the DLSS plugin for actually DLAA. Just using the deep learning anti-aliasing with 5 temporal samples and that occlusion queries off, and also motion blur separable. Don't know if this comes up down here. Yeah, it does. So can you do that on real time as well as renders, perhaps? Second motion blur pass to smooth out motion blur, reduces noise, higher quality blur. That's really key for moving renders as well. So those were some really nice finds from the last couple sessions. I want to see, and yeah, they made this forward-facing 4K render look really nice and clean. I was mostly concerned with sort of as you zoom in, you can kind of see it here in this distant kind of area. You get like the shadows become a little confused. I guess the term is kind of chattering in the shadows. They kind of flicker. But here it is. If you just stay still, you can see it. Just TSR, the TSR anti-aliasing, just trying to figure out whether it wants to display a shadow or not, and it just keeps with this kind of weird noise. I wonder if there's a way to say like keep the data persistent, you know, make one calculation, and if it doesn't seem to change, then don't change, because it seems to be doing the calculation differently every time. There might be another console command out there to clear that up, but what I found was the DLAA, really fix that really well. Can you enable that in project settings as the anti-aliasing method in here? Doesn't look like it. But it works in render. We're talking about offline renders mostly here, so kind of interesting. Can you enable DLAA for the project? Let's Google that quickly. I don't think you can. It just gives the kind of, so it's like commonly just used for, you know, upscaling, deep learning, super sampling. But just the deep learning anti-aliasing without actually doing a upscale or a downscale. It's kind of interesting. Interesting that it's a different thing. It's getting a streaming quality. Yeah. Sorry about the stream quality. Let's see if we can fix that. I'll look at fixing it next session as well. That's a shame. Well, let's carry on and see what happens. So I'm gonna look now at, I guess we'll do a new level. Imported some assets. Looking at skeletal meshes. Oh, got loads of stuff in here. I think they're Paragon. Yeah, Paragon. And there was something else as well. But we've also got this here, so maybe we do it in. Let's do it in this level. Oh, I don't have the level for that. So that'd be kind of cool. This would be quite cool to check out because that's a real nightmare for anti-aliasing fractals stuff. What's this? Oh yeah, that's that. Yeah, let's use this. I also want to look at camera shake. See if that causes, you know, problems or not. So let's stick to this level for this one because we know this is the plugin I want to be using. I'm going to start by doing just a faster. I have sort of done some more fast moving tests, but thought like just do something really erratic. Um, I mean, maybe this kind of motion would just be like not advised for immersive anyway, but let's give it a go. Yeah, you can't really see what I'm doing over here, but I want to keep these keyframes just so I can do this quickly. Keep these keyframes on a second screen. But yeah, I've been making a lot of tutorials for the 360 stuff, and it's really, really useful for making sure this workflow stuff actually carries through. And you know, from doing that forward motion kind of tutorial, I realized, you know, there's lots of other kinds of motion. There is skeletal mesh animation as well to think about. So you know, it's important to maybe do a little bit of roll. It's important to test out all of these different kinds of motion to see what else comes up, because you never know what's going to come up until you try it out, you know. Okay. Then I'm just going to go backwards again through that. So I'm going to do that, just these Just these keyframes. Raise it up a bit more. Cool, let's just see what comes up. I'm rendering this one at 4K with those same kind of DLSS and console commands settings. I'm not going to bother with the 5. It's just going to times our render time by 5. QDLAA. And let's put this in a motion tests 2. Motion tests 2. We'll keep it in there. Nice. And then, yeah, we can just see if this motion blur separable looks good when you're sort of changing direction quickly and stuff like that. And yeah, let's do this slow one. It's quite a few frames actually. But while we're doing that, we can look at these skeletal meshes. I just got some of these like Paragon skeletal meshes. I'll keep that emissive there because that's an interesting thing to look at. Emissive materials seem to leave these kind of streaks with movement, so it could be. Oh, we do have a map for this. What is this map? It looks like just a bit of a rundown of this character. Oh, shaders probably to compile. Let's import this into Tokyo instead. Yeah, I just thought he's quite a nice complex character. He might have some, might throw up some potential issues that we can look at, try and solve. Okay, character. What have we got? Global. I want animations, really. I do just want, I guess, heroes. Here we go. Animation blueprint. Okay, we get a blueprint. Whoa, it's got a little dude. Very cool. Wow, it's a cool asset. Wow. So what we got? We got anim class. Use animation blueprint. What does the animation blueprint do? So it's kind of idling. It's not pawn, is it? I guess it is a player. It's a player character. It's a player character, but yeah, we don't have the input actions for it, so now is not the time to figure that out. Let's just chuck some of the animations. Also, this got quite a lot of action. Jog, perhaps. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's do that for one. Do we have like shooting or something? Sprint is pretty good. Ooh. Okay. Let's just do the sprinting ones. What version of the plugin have I got? It's pretty outdated. I'm gonna try it out now. How did this render do? We've got a lot of motion blur to check out, which is nice. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it didn't finish. Didn't finish. What is that? Did it have an error? What was that? Oh, it's just the camera cut, wasn't it? Okay. Where was it? 149. Excuse me. Okay. But from judging that so far, we can still have a look at this so far, can't we? It's not like looking at freeze frames. It's not the smoothest. It's not. Got some weirdness here, but like, yeah, I guess that is quite distracting. I think you can't really tell what's going on, but if we're to be really nitpicky, that's something I would have notes on. Could do more samples. Doesn't like trees. The motion blur, the separable motion blur is so nice though. It's like really painterly. It's really natural. But like you got this kind of stuff going on here, which I'm not so happy with. But again, like it goes by so fast. That is distracting if you're really looking at it. What's going on there, you know? That's weird as well. Trees must just be really tricky, but something kind of unnatural about that. I guess it's not too bad. I would love to fix that though. This moment. I would love to fix that. This kind of random bit here. I think that's worth looking into how to clean that up. So like feels like should that be going that direction if that's going that direction, you know? There's like two different axes. Is a weird movement, but maybe it's alright. Yeah. We got any more? Any more frames? Um, oh yeah, we got really far. No, I didn't do the whole thing. Nice. Oh, that train's coming fast as well. I really think the main thing that's causing issues is the trees here. Whoa, that's not right, is it? We do have some face blend on. We actually have some face kind of exposure difference issues here as well. This is obviously quite a wild camera movement, but I don't know. If I would probably try and set out something quite bespoke for a weird shot like that, you know? Instead of just jumping into the level and being like, yeah, let's do that crazy camera movement. I'd probably say, you know, it's an odd shot anyway. But maybe we should be looking at trying to fix that. This is crazy. This is interesting anyway. This is interesting. I wonder how a front-facing camera with a wide field of view would deal with this. You know, then we know whether it's a 360 issue. This all looks pretty good. This is the number of samples. Let's do more samples and just see what that does. Cool. So yeah, this project, don't know what version of the plugin this is actually, so let's just see how we go. I guess let's just have these two guys here, and maybe we'll do like some up-down movement to the camera, something like that. I think it's useful to have this emissive light going on, just because it's likely to kind of throw up some more stuff to solve. Oh, that's taking a while to save. Goodness. Thanks for jumping in and following along this stuff though. Appreciate having a couple people finding it interesting. I think it's really interesting diving really deep into exactly why Unreal's doing the things it's doing, and then just finding the exact console commands to just turn off, or the exact settings to, you know, to set to really get the best out of these renders. It's quite easy to just say, oh, let's use Path Tracer instead, or because Unreal's made for real time, it's always going to have these drawbacks, but why not try and get it as perfect as possible while getting the benefit of super speedy renders from Unreal? Why not try and go for that? I'll like still for a bit. You know what, let's like circle around instead. Get really close as well. Nice. Alright, let's just try the same settings on that then. Gotta make it from scratch, but it's not too hard. Let's do, we don't have DLAA in here, do we? Nope. I think it changed. Okay. It changed plugin type, didn't it? DLSS plugin 5.5. Room 5.5, yeah. How's this render getting on? Chugging away. Oops. Yeah. And then other than that, we got the console commands. The variables. Mission separable on and what was it? Separable, no, occlusion queries. No. And then let's save this 360 ELAA because it will eventually have that. This project is intermediate. Let's remember where we threw that plugin. Ooh, it's easy. Weird. Wow, slow. 2 gigs. Whoa. Should probably be doing this project wide instead of just to this plugins folder. It's 2 gigs I'm probably gonna just forget I ever used. It's great. Let's just see what TSR does for now. And we're gonna go motion blur. Motion blur tests to it says skeletal. This is TSR. Just gonna double check that I do have TSR as the anti-aliasing method. TSR. Yep. Cool. That's definitely going there. Right. Let's render both of those at the same time then. Cool. Let's check out the frames so far over on the other project. God, I'm doing quite a lot here when we consider that I'm also streaming. Lovely computer. Ooh, it's looking better with the more samples, I think. Whoa, that's way better. That's way better. Just in terms of the like weird light thing that was happening here, that's totally fixed. More samples. And also, it's like a little bit funny. A little bit funny here, but like so much better. So much better. Wow. Okay. That's really cool. It's really, really cool. So yeah, 5 samples. They tell you not to use less than 8, but if you use 8, you're timesing your render time by 8. I'd much rather times it by 5 than times it by 8. And honestly, it looks good. It looks so much better than TSR without any override. That's so cool. That's really, really cool. Oh, I love results that quickly. Let's look at it side by side. What frame are we on? 3. Yeah, that's fine. It's a bit less incoherent, I guess. Like that's just like a ghost of a pillar. But like what is that anyway? It's just abstract. This is looking pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. First difference there. Bit more coherent. Motion blur actually sort of like goes in and around these leaves, whereas it doesn't really do that here. Bit less like random, bit like this is the one sample. This is well, this is no override. This is 5 samples. Bit less kind of. This is all random directions. This feels a bit more uniform, right? But that's weirder. Is it? Is it weirder? Is it what you would expect? Well, I don't know if I like that actually. Don't even know where I am now. 111. 6. What's worse? What's better? Both pretty odd. But yeah, this was the key moment we were looking at fixing, really, wasn't it? Yeah. It's just quite sort of random. This has more of a sense of direction, doesn't it? But this is quite random. Yeah, let's look at it a bit more zoomed out. See, that was that thing. I don't know if I'm being biased, but this seems less distracting to me. It's definitely less distracting. Is it still distracting? Yes, I think it is, kind of. Definitely way more passable. when you know that like this freeze frame is kind of just noise in all directions. Oops. Noise in all directions. I feel like I do still get the impression that it's a bit hectic for that moment. But again, it whizzes by so quick that does it. What matters is you don't get this like flash. I feel like that is more of a visible error kind of flash. You know what I mean? I wonder if anyone knows what I mean. I can see this on stream. I hope the stream quality is okay for this. But like, yeah, like that. I think it's that. This weirdness where this is really, it's all too clear here, you know. Whereas this is more what you would expect. You would expect it to be blurred. So yeah, more natural DLSS, I would say. More natural DLSS with 5 samples. This was another moment where I was a bit freaked out. Way nicer. Way nicer? Yeah. Well, it's a lot more like painterly. Or is it? It's a bit more blotchy, a bit thicker. This is smoother little sweeping stroke. Whereas this is a bit more of a blotch. It's a different style. But here it's way more muddled, way more confused. This feels more natural, for sure. I think that's a fair trade-off. I wish you could still get these beautiful lines. I think it's a fair trade-off. Considering it's there for like 2 frames. Still gives the impression. That's arguably a bit more distracting. Yeah, it's more distracting. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Any difference over this like grid? Yeah, a bit more clarity, I think. Yeah. Actually looks to be a different color. Maybe I've been staring at the screen too long. Should jump off soon anyway, but um yeah, quite like that grid. Clearer. But trees, unreal win. Unreal win here for a few more samples. We had that come up. There. So much better. Is it still kinda there? Don't know. No, that's just the pavement behind, right? Yeah, it's just the pavement behind. So really good win for this and just wow, This tearing, absolutely torn up image. These bits. Super well fixed with a few more samples. A few more samples doing wonders there. Love that. So yeah, I think that's really good. Another win for the DLAA motion blur separable 5 anti-aliasing samples. Method. Super clean. Love it. I might leave this skeletal mesh animation deep analysis for next time. Maybe pump out some more renders. Oh, I left it on stereoscopic. Great. Maybe pump out some more renders before we take a real deep dive on this. It's a bit too low res to really analyze because I messed up the render settings. But next week, let's look at skeletal mesh animation and stuff. Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. Have a good start to 2026, and we'll see you next week. Many thanks.